Okay, everybody, welcome to the Green Earth Action Foundation webinar. You're watching Climate Action Conversations, a webinar series intentionally curated to help everyday people adopt sustainable practices. We're thrilled to have you here as we dive into such an important topic, how to upcycle waste without compromising your lifestyle. I'm your host for today. My name is Asma Onyongi, and I'm the project coordinator here at Green Earth Action Foundation. On behalf of the foundation, I would like to thank each and every one of you joining us here today. And to those of you watching the live later, enjoy, stick around. Now, Green Earth Action Foundation, it's a Switzerland-based foundation founded in 2023. We are a dynamic, innovative, international nonprofit organization founded in Switzerland. Our passionate team is dedicated to championing global environmental protection and fostering the adoption of sustainable living practices worldwide. Our mission is to inspire and support individuals, communities, and organizations on their journey towards a sustainable future. We provide resources, education, and funding to promote environmental protection, celebrate diversity, and advocate for peace. At the Green Earth Action Foundation, our vision is rooted in three main pillars: in environmental protection, in diversity, and of course, in peace. We are dedicated to raising global awareness about environmental protection by increasing public understanding of environmental issues, inspire community engagement, and promote sustainable practices. And with diversity preservation, which is a multifaceted concept that encompasses the biological diversity, cultural diversity, and diversity of thoughts. It is integral for us to build a more resilient, inclusive, and sustainable world. Now, for peace, we are highly motivated to promote world peace and security. It is one of the key missions of our foundations. We believe that only with peace can there be development and a sustainable future. Now, our topic for today, which is how to upcycle waste without compromising your lifestyle. You might be wondering, why did we pick this topic, right? So now, waste refers, as you know it, refers to materials that are no longer wanted or needed, often generated through our daily activities. It comes in various forms, but today we'll be concentrating on waste in the household. This includes items such as bottles, cans, glass, metals, plastics, textiles, etc., which we'll be discussing later on today. But a quick fun fact, did you know each year, on average, 1,500 pounds of waste per person goes into a landfill? That's 1,500 pounds for each human being, and we have about 8 billion people in the world. So if you can do the numbers, I'm sure you can imagine how incredible it is. It's a big problem currently in our environment, and that is why we have chosen to highlight it today. According to the World Bank Group, poorly managed waste is contaminating the world's oceans, clogging drains, and causing flooding, transmitting diseases, increasing respiratory problems from burning, harming animals that consume waste unknowingly, and affects economic development such as tourism. So I'm sure you can see how this huge problem intersects with all across the life of human beings. Now, you might be wondering what type of waste we encounter. They can be categorized into several groups. We have the organic waste, the hazardous waste, solid waste, liquid waste, and of course the household waste, which is our highlight of today. Now, before we move on, I would like to discuss with you 4 key strategies we can adopt to manage our waste effectively. First of all, we can start out by reducing the amount of waste we generate in the first place. So start from scratch, reduce the waste you are building. Secondly, recycling as much as possible to give materials a new life. And 3, transforming waste in an environmentally safe manner. And of course, finally, continuing safe landfills, because at the end of the day, we will recycle, but unfortunately, some waste will end up in landfills that cannot be reused and recycled. And it's important for us to manage this. For some of you who might be new to upcycling, you might be wondering, the difference between upcycling and recycling. Now, recycling is the process of converting waste materials back into raw materials before they can be used to create new products. So this would usually involve an industrial process. On the other hand, upcycling is all about creativity. It involves repurposing waste materials into high quality items or products with a completely new purpose. It's basically giving life to trash, taking trash to treasure, giving it a new purpose, instead of throwing it away, which is actually what we're trying to minimize. Today, we'll explore this concept further and discuss practical steps you can take to manage your household waste effectively. Now, before we get started with our speakers, we will do a quick recap of our event earlier this week in Geneva, which will be presented by Green Earth Action Foundation's very own project manager, Baptiste Palbino. Over to you, Baptiste.
Thank you, Asma. Good morning, good afternoon, or even good evening to everyone. Very nice to see you all today here for our webinar. And thank you, Asma, for the very kind and comprehensive introduction. So as you mentioned, before we dive into today's discussion, we can take a moment to revisit the highlights of our recent event in Geneva, which was truly a memorable and impactful experience. And I would like to highlight as a project manager that it really underscored the power of collecting action in fields such as the one of upcycling. So earlier this week, we hosted a vibrant pop-up event at the University of Geneva, which has been a real hub of inspiration and collaboration. We were very glad to have more than 250 people that visited our booth. They were all engaging in conversation about waste reduction, sustainable living, or the importance of upcycling. So I can definitely tell you, as someone who was part of the pop-up, that the enthusiasm for the topic was clear, and participants from all backgrounds are really showing great interest in upcycling and in all the possibilities that this topic is offering. And we also had the privilege of having with us two amazing experts, local experts from Geneva. We had Mrs. Elisa Erny, who is the founder of the Swiss Upcycling Association, and she shared her creative approach to turning waste into valuable resources. And she also showed us everyday items and artworks that are made using upcycling techniques. And people were extremely surprised to see how easy sometimes it can be to just not waste something, but to transform it into something that is very useful. You can see here on the slide, we had a bag. We also had a bottle that is now used to be a soap dispenser. We had all these little items that were really concretely showing people that upcycling is there. And we also had with us Mr. Joël Velas, who is the founder of the and Upcycling Expo. So it's basically the first international upcycling Geneva-based festival. So it's a very important event, and he also showed us that some object that you would have probably wasted could have been transformed into items with just a bit of innovation and creativity. So they all greatly encourage us to be part of the upcycling movement. And more than this, I think the most important is that the event really served as a bridge between students, sustainability advocates, and professionals. It fostered valuable collaboration, and we all hope that this will grow into a long-term partnership and will really help to put the topic in front of the scene for everyone. And it's also nice because our visitors not only just listen, but they engage, they ask challenging questions, they contributed with their own ideas. And I hope this is what is going to also happen today during our webinar. So let's say that in Geneva, we set the scene to reimagine, reduce, and reuse together. And we will just continue this today. We're all looking very much forward to hear your presentation. Thank you to all our esteemed speakers to be here with us today, and I give the floor back to my colleague Asma.
Thank you so much, Baptiste, for such a wonderful presentation. So as you can probably tell, we have a lot of offline events coming up. And please, if you're watching, subscribe to our social media platforms to stay in touch. We would love to have you anytime, not only on our online events, also on our offline ones, because we have so much in store. We are planning so much, and it's all very exciting. Now, moving forward, I will go on to allow our speakers to present. They will be discussing their businesses in upcycling, key impacts their products and the key impacts they've made. This would allow, because a big part of our foundation is also to promote partnerships within the climate action ecosphere. First, we will be starting off with Bilkisu Garba. Bilkisu is the founder and managing director of the Upcycle Architect. She has created over 6,892 eco-friendly products. She has empowered more than 2,125 people through upcycling courses. She won the Best Social Enterprise Award in 2021 from the Holloway Foundation, and she has received an award of recognition by the African Cleanup Initiative in 2023. As you can see, she's very well knowledgeable and very well versed. So we appreciate so much that you are here with us today, and I hope you guys enjoy. Hello, Bilkisu. You can now present.
Okay, so thank you so much for the opportunity and the platform. Thank you to the amazing team of GEAF. It's an honor to be here, and well, it's actually morning in Nigeria, so I'd say good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you streaming in live. Just like she said, my name is Bilkisu Garba, and I run a social enterprise that is based here in the capital of Nigeria, which is called Abuja. It's a social enterprise called the Upcycle Architect, and we've been in the business of upcycling for about 7 years. And what we primarily do is we upcycle, repurpose, scrap items that people would generally classify as waste and junk into functional, sturdy, and more sustainable products with emphasis on interior spaces. It's actually we started the Upcycle Architects. It's a collection of two of us, myself and my partner, and we're actually architects. So I'm sure that one of the reasons why Tupa is called the Upcycle Architect. And another reason why we do what we do is because of our background in architecture. Most of our products, like I said, are interior-based products, and they're sourced primarily from construction sites, solid waste, and also from household waste. So you would find us using wood of course, pallets from shipping containers. You would find us using waste bottles, specifically glass bottles. You would also find us using things like fabric offcuts, and we fuse them in multiple ways to create really nice products for interior spaces. And we also do exterior products, but emphasis today will be more on our interior project. And just like you can see on the screens, we do a lot of things, but our core area, our key mission is tied down to 4 things. First is products. We make products, just like I said. The second is we have an academy, just like Asmao said during the introduction, where we teach and train people on multiple courses that are related to sustainability and upcycling. And we also are very big on advocacy, community services. So we have a growing community. If you would like to join, please do let us know. We have a growing community where we teach people, we try to enlighten people of like minds, and so there's like a ripple effect, because Nigeria is a very diverse country, and a lot of people do not really know what upcycling is about. People practice upcycling indirectly, but they don't even know, they don't have like a technical or formal knowledge of what it is and what the potentials are. So we've had a little bit of setback and that's also one of the reasons why we started the academy. So people get to learn, and they have like they get to see practical ways in which you can transform items that people will classify as waste and junk into multiple projects. If you've ever been a student of the Upcycle Architect Academy, we always try to push people to be able to utilize their own generated scrap products to make things. So we teach them, we let them learn, and then they use their own creativity and initiative to make products. And we've had a lot of success stories of people that have done phenomenal jobs. I wish I could showcase some of their pages for you to see, but I mean, it's fine. So upcycling, I like to define upcycling as giving waste items a second chance to life. That's what I love to do. And just because people have, there's a stereotype towards upcycling that, oh, it was once a scrap item, it was something old, oh, I don't need it anymore, oh, it was gotten from, a trash can or from a recycling plant, and people don't see the need to want to do anything with them. But when you repurpose these items, you show people that for everything that you classify as useless, there are multiple ways in which you can actually do amazing things with them. Let me just show you how practical ways you can upcycle. You could turn scrap items and waste items into functional products. Before I start, like I said, we do multiple things. There's a concept that we follow in the Upcycle Architect, and that is a concept of theory of change. What do we do? Now, the first step is, as Nigerians, when people buy our products and they take our classes, you're enlightening and empowering more Nigerians to be aware of the concept of sustainability and upcycling. Now, when they have learned and they've bought these things, Nigerians begin to incorporate upcycling into their everyday lives. You get it? And then two things happen when more Nigerians know about these things. We have less waste in our society. And then because more people are upcycling, household items become less expensive. We reduce importation rates and improve our lifestyle. And then four things, it's like a ripple effect, just like I said, four things happen afterwards, which is we have more sustainable environments, healthy environments, more clean drinking water, access to better sewage, and Nigerians spend that extra money that they have on other necessities. So this is the concept that we follow in our products and also in teaching students. Now, the slide before this, I was trying to talk about lifestyle and how people don't necessarily have to see things that are, you don't have to have a bad stereotype. Like from these images, you can see that's one of our workshop sessions where we teach indigenous native women of Abuja, they call the baggy women, how to upcycle like tires into, bespoke furniture. The image below is a living space of someone that put, one of our showstoppers is the bottle table, we call it the butel table. And it's a combination of scrap wood items, wood of course, that are gotten from construction sites. We fuse them with bottles, and if you can see, those are real life plants into the space. So it's actually like a living table. And on the other side, you can see those are wine bottles that have been upcycled using Afrocentric fabric pieces with Afrocentric motifs to become vases. So just because you upcycle something that was classified as junk, it doesn't necessarily mean you need to alter your lifestyle or it's a bad thing. Upcycle products allows you to customize things. It's a highly, it deals predominantly on your creativity. And just because you're utilizing creativity doesn't mean you always need to stress yourself so much in trying to think of new ideas. Every product that you make when you start from small has a story to tell. It allows you to have this eco-conscious, eco-friendly lifestyle that aligns with global trends. And, it's a more sustainable alternative. We always have this, deliberations where we're talking with people that recycle and they're like, oh no, recycling is better, upcycling is better. They are all efficient and sustainable practices. It just depends on what you're doing at that moment. It's something everyone should, do at the same time. It has great potentials, yes, to be, like I said, we've been in the business of upcycling for about 7 years. And for me personally, and so many people that have upcycled, they say upcycling is therapeutic, and yes, upcycled items are always showstoppers, because personally, this is from a personal experience, when you make one product, even if you're making something similar with the same exact materials, there's a very high chance that the next product will be a little slightly different from what you did before. So there's that concept of upcycled product being bespoke and, showstoppers. So yes, the possibilities are endless, and I don't really know how much time I have left, but just because you upcycle, it does not necessarily mean you need to compromise anything at all that you do. It needs to be tagged as tacky and all that. So these are just like examples of some of our products. like I said, we primarily use solid waste items and household items. That over on the left-hand side is the butel table with real-life plants. And that in the middle is actually a tire table, and also with fabric scrap pieces. And the other one on the right-hand side, those are 2 trays. We call them the melange trays. They have been our best sellers, and they are from scrap wood items that are wood, of course, bought from construction sites that we, manually hand paint into trays. Yes, eco-conscious trays. They're very sturdy. So on the left-hand side is also another, image of the butel table in a different form. These are upcycled upcycled bottles, scrap wine bottles. And last year I embarked on a personal quest, which was to upcycle 1,000 glass bottles, and I was successful to be able to, I think I upcycled personally, I was able to upcycle about 1,017 glass bottles into planters and vases. So those are just some possibilities. I wish you can quickly go back to a couple of slides that had to do with sauce stitch. This is before this. So next week, which is on the 3rd of December, we have actually been working on a project, and it's called Sauce Stitch by Tupa. Sauce Stitch by Tupa is an initiative where we're trying to showcase to Nigerians another creative way in which we can ditch single-use plastic bags. So they are, it's like a lifestyle, funky kind of bags. So far, we've produced quite a number of them, about 30 bags, but we haven't showcased them yet because we want to officially unveil them next week. And the idea, the idea of Sauce Stitch by Tupa is, it's a fusion of scrap denim pieces and what we call Ankara. We call them Ankara fabrics. So they're off-cuts, scrap denim off-cuts. I know we have a couple of experts that are into denim here. I would love to hear from you, but it's just something, it's like an experiment just to show people how to ditch single-use plastic bags and how to, have reusable bags that they, for students, for people that go for shopping, we have, like I said, we have about 30 designs, and hopefully on 3rd, which is I think next week, Tuesday, we'll be officially launching them. And it's just another way to show you that, okay, yes, just because it's something that seemingly seems like scrap, but there are multiple ways that you can do it. And the idea behind this is, for every sauce stitch bag that we sell, we have a mission to train 30 indigenous women of a community in Abuja called Kobwa. So we have 30 women that we want to empower. So from every sale of these bags, we want to have a session through the academy that teaches these women how to upcycle scrap fabric pieces into reusable bags. So please, we're open to support in every form, collaborations, partnerships in making this vision come true. So I think the last part of my presentation is a construction site. Like I said, we're architects. So we had a construction site that was, their footprint, general overall footprint of the site was really high. And we proposed a solution for just one aspect of it. And they had so many granite offcuts. And we suggested that we could repurpose, because they had actually paid for trucks to take them to dump sites and landfills in Abuja here. Suggested that we could actually repurpose those granite offcuts into floor finishes. So it took us about 6 months to collect, sort, cut, clean those scrap granite pieces into functional floor finishes. And from the images here, I have a video to accompany that, but I'm not really sure of time. But you can go ahead, yes, and play the video. And we were able to reduce that site's footprint in multiple ways. We were able to save the client's funds from taking out for transportation, and for also because he wanted to put asphalt on the site, which was going to increase the site's temperature, and there was just a lot going on. So because of this suggestion, we were able to reduce cost of labor, the overall temperature of the site, and site clearance, purchase of new materials, and it turned out to really be nice. Thank you so much. And okay, I think my time is up. Thank you so much for your time.
That was such a lovely presentation. Thank you so much, Bilkisu. It was so nice hearing about your products and how you turn. I particularly thought it was very interesting how you turned wine bottles into tables. That's very unexpected and it's very interesting to learn. Now, to get everyone back here, I have a quick riddle for you. Okay, I hope you can get this right. And please feel free, comment your answers in the comment section down below. We would love to hear from you what you think the answer is. Here it goes. When it's time to dispose, I shouldn't be tossed. I'm where what you recycle won't get lost. Am I? One more time. When it's time to dispose, I shouldn't be tossed. I'm where what you recycle won't get lost. What am I? Please comment in the chat box below. We would love to hear from you. No, not plastic, not waste either. I'm where what you recycle won't get lost. So that could give you a hint on what it could possibly be. Okay, I think we have an answer. The answer is recycling bin. That's correct, Chiara P. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Thank you so much. And next we have Namrata Budhraja, who is the co-founder of Shifteco. She was the winner of the Visa's She's Next grant, which has highlighted her entrepreneurial efforts. She has a strong background in sustainability, emphasizing expertise in the field. She has partnered with major corporations around the world to enhance sustainable living practices, and she's committed to making sustainable living accessible through education and vetted solutions. Namrata, we are so excited to have you and we'd love to hear more about you and your business.
Thank you so much, Asma, firstly, for inviting me in Green Earth Action Foundation. It's been a pleasure to be here today. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone joining in. It's my pleasure to be here and to learn more about other amazing businesses from around the world. I'm Namrata. I'm the co-founder of a company called Shifteco. I'm based in the United Arab Emirates. Shifteco is basically a platform for honest, vetted, eco-friendly products. We started as an e-commerce platform for end consumers. And I think giving you a little bit background about how I got into a social enterprise like Shifteco. I'm a consultant. I'm an ex-consultant, and I think I really wanted to do something in the social impact space. So like a true consultant, I started to do some research to understand what deters people from being sustainable. And as you would expect, some of the things that came up is people find being sustainable as very cumbersome, very difficult. A lot of people perceive sustainability as expensive. And someone also said to me, sustainability is a rich person's problem. And a lot of people don't have enough information and awareness about the quality of sustainable products. And to solve these problems in the market, we launched Shifteco with the ethos of not just providing vetted, sustainable products, but also by making people more aware and engaged with the space, because very early on we realized that we're in the business of behavior change. Until people don't engage with the concept, no one's really going to change their behavior. So from our side, we work with both end consumers as well as organizations. For end consumers, while we do have a platform of sustainable products, and you're seeing some of them in these slides, but we do a lot of awareness and education work because that's really close to our heart, and we feel like to drive that change, that becomes really important. From our side, for the corporate business, this ethos is exactly the same. Companies these days have sustainability targets. Everyone's talking so much about going net zero, but how does that trickle down into the culture of the company? And we help companies, firstly, procure better products. So whether it's office supplies, whether it's corporate gifting, but then again, just changing product does not change behavior. So we do a lot of awareness and education work. So from our side, our mission is to contribute to this entire, sort of climate change action by making sure we're building these, we call them change agents. So engaging a lot with people, getting people engaged about sustainability. And I think from our side, of course, upcycling is also important to us, and a lot of our products are upcycled, but there are also other products in our portfolio which hold other sustainability values as well. And I think from our side, as starting a sustainability company, there have been different barriers that has come up when we were starting Shifteco. Things like educating the market. So while we talk about education and awareness, people are very interested in sustainability, but it takes time to build that engagement with it. So I think from us, we see a lot of traction. I can't say so much about other parts of the world, but in the Middle East, in the UAE, given we had COP28 last year, and we have COP29 that just finished in Baku. There's just so much of engagement with this space. You see companies really engaging with sustainability. So there's a lot of momentum, but there were barriers. It's been 4 years since we've been around, and we've seen that transition happen quite slowly. I think supply chain has been another issue, because when you're looking at products, just understanding, having suppliers that align with the ethical and environmental standards has been very initially finding suppliers that matched our code of conduct was very difficult, but we've now working with very, very good local as well as some international suppliers in the field. And then lastly, it's the cost perception, right? Like, how do you make sustainability accessible? And I think from our side, what we're trying to say is that sustainability does not have to be expensive at all. Actually, the first tenet of sustainability is refuse things, say no to things, buy less, but buy better quality, buy products that have longevity. And I think that's why the narrative has to change. Sustainability is not luxury, it's sustenance, right? And I think that's why these dialogues, and thank you, Green Earth Action Foundation, for hosting this dialogue, because it's so imperative for more of these conversations to happen so that more of these myths can break. And I think from my side, I'm really excited to learn more about the other businesses, and looking forward to engaging in the conversation further. Thank you so much. Over to you, Asma.
Hey, thank you so much, Namrata. It was really interesting learning more about Shifteco and the work you do, starting from like refusing the waste and going on with like education and that. On next, we'll have our next speaker, Hanne Ripsaluoma. She's the founder and creative director of Donessy, a luxury brand focused on sustainable, innovative fashion. It is a conscious clothing and footwear brand focused on sustainability. The brand uses a reimagined denim and waste fabrics. It's her second venture in the fashion industry, and she's committed to empowering female entrepreneurs. Thank you so much. Now you can present. I'd love to hear about your business and what you do.
Great, thank you so much. I am very, very happy and honored to be part of this webinar. Thank you for having me. So yes, my name is Hanne. I am the founder of Donessy, this upcycled denim brand. I am originally from Finland, but have lived in the UK and US before moving to Dubai with my husband 17 years ago. So the UAE is second home, and my two kids were born here, and this is where I launched Donessy. I am very passionate about the planet and sustainability, and I want to, as a mom, also lead by example and show my kids sustainable way of living, and I want them to see me doing something good for the planet, even as part of my work. So Donessy was born from my passion for denim. I'm a denim lover, but I do not like what producing denim does to our planet. As probably everybody knows, denim is a very thirsty fabric. The production of cotton and then the dyeing of the denim uses a lot of water. Actually, just to make one pair of jeans uses about 7,000 to 10,000 liters of water, which is enough for one person to shower for a month. So it wastes a lot of our precious water, which is not good. But good news is that there's enough denim on this planet already existing. We do not need to produce new denim. There's enough. Actually, this is such a crazy number, I don't even get my head around it, but over 2 million metric tons of denim is discarded every year. 2 million metric tons every year is discarded. So this is Donessy's material. This is what we use, mostly pre-loved jeans. We use that to create unique, luxuriously tailored denim pieces that our customers can treasure for years. So we offer a solution for people who are maybe not creative and don't have time or interested in doing upcycling at home. Please donate the clothes and textiles that you don't want anymore. Donate them to a charity shop or textile recycling center, and then brands like us can go and buy them and give that fabric a second life as something amazing. So we create clothing, jackets, dresses, skirts. Surprisingly, not many jeans, but the clothing from pre-loved jeans. And we sell our products online on our own website, and we are also listed on Wolf & Badger's website, and we have stock in their London store. Not sure how many people are listening from London, but this is another option for those who don't want to do upcycling at home. Please buy from brands that use upcycling materials. Support them, and that will help the whole industry to more and more brands, hopefully, to shift to use existing materials instead of always producing new. And thank you so much. This is Donessy.
Okay, thank you so much, Hanne. I think the highlight for me was when you mentioned that 2 million metric tons of denim is discarded each year. That sounds like such a huge number, and that's each year. Oh my God. Yeah, it just highlights the importance of upcycling denim, because if that much is discarded, why do we need to produce more, right? You can just keep upcycling and, as you said, supporting businesses who upcycle. Now, if you're enjoying the webinar, please type yes in the comments section below in the chat box. We would love to hear from you. Now, to move forward, we have our next speaker, Jenny Holloway. Jenny is the CEO of Fashion Enter Limited, which is an approved government training academy offering fashion qualifications from level 1 to level 5. It is recognized as an award-winning non-profit and a center of excellence in garment manufacturing. It is the only UK company to achieve a leading status in the Fast Forward audits. It is committed to ethical and sustainable practices using innovative technologies to minimize waste. Jenny, we are really honored to have you here with us today in this webinar, and you can now take the floor by presenting.
Right, lovely. Thank you very much, and great presentation so far. You set the bar high, so well done, everybody, and great to see so many people online as well. I used to be an ex-senior buyer, and I was quite horrified when I was a senior buyer at the amount of waste that takes place. It is incredible to see trying to forecast in the future 5,000 dozen garments being made, or how can you, especially now. So we're in garment manufacturing, and what we want to do is produce less garments. We have 75 clients, most of which now are with recycling. And if I show you this slide, this is our repair centre. And do you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to take you to our repair centre. So we'll do something live. I hope this works, because things like this proves it's real, doesn't it? This was not expected, but I'm going to take you out to this room and I'm going to show you what we do. So this is our very busy factory part, and you can see we've got lots of production going through, but actually small quantities. If you look at that green there, that is for a band, and we're making 30 of those garments. But this is the repair area. Okay, so look at all these repairs. So seeing is believing. Look at these repairs coming in. This is Patagonia. There's Patagonia. We have Rafa. We have Lululemon. We're repairing bags. Lululemon. More repairs. Coats. Plastics. And this is the centre here that is working on all the repairs as we speak. We also do denim as well. We actually work for a company called LV Denim, and they bring in 2 pairs of trousers. We cut them down the middle and then we stitch them together. Tansy, I'm doing a live presentation. This is the lovely Tansy. A wave. Have we got any LV Denim here, just so that we can prove? No, we haven't. Okay, that's absolutely fine. Next week they're coming in. So this is what a factory looks like, everybody, but this is the ethical factory that we work in. We also have an educational side. May as well give you a guided tour. Now we're going live. And what I want to sort of point out is that if you look on this rail here, we don't make large quantities anymore. And if anybody's going to be a budding designer, then we can make 1 garment. There, look, you can see this is one of our clients. She's only making small ratio packs. So we're really trying to encourage the importance of make to order rather than trying to forecast sales for the future. Christmas decks are up. How exciting. This is our AI centre. We've got Style 3D here. And this actually stops us doing waste for the future. So if we can make samples in AI, we don't have to make physical form samples. So that is helping with carbon footprint. And this is one of our training areas where we've got all the machines. We've got lots of mannequins that are excellent fit. These are from Alvenom. But here we're teaching about recycling, upcycling and stitching skills as well. So the biggest growth area for us, we used to make 30,000 garments a week, and actually now we're not making any more than probably 5,000 for different clients. And for, as I said, we're now making one-off garments for people too. So this is completely not on what we discussed today, but I think it's really important to see repairs, upcycling, re-commerce in action. And we also, for all you talented people, we have a shop that's in London. It's a retail shop, and we'd be very happy to support anybody with their products. So if you need a stockist in London, then we can support you with your brand. I can't tell you how fulfilling it is to work on garments and recycle them so they're not going into landfill. You know, there is so much good that we can do, and I'm a big believer that we're only on this earth, if we're lucky, 80 years, you know, so it's so important that we make an impact on our planet now. And to be working with GEAF on the seminars and workshops is fantastic. So keep going and doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much, Jenny. Oh my God, I love that you gave us a tour. That really gave us a good insights to the good work you're doing. A lot of sustainable fashion, slow fashion, which is really what we're trying to promote. Climate action is really important, and it's good to have you on board. Now, to the audience, if you're loving the speaker super, please comment yes in the chat box. We would love to hear from you. I'm excited. I I think anyone should be. I'm sure you are. And yes, now before we move on to the rest of the webinar conversations, we will play a mini game. It's just a quick one, where I will be presenting to you three sentences. So 2 truths and 1 is a lie. So now it'll be up to you to detect the lie. Number 1 is upcycling is the process of turning waste into useful products. Number 2, upcycling helps reduce the demand of new materials. And number 3, upcycling can only be done with plastic materials. Comment what number you think is the lie in the chat box below. Yeah. One more time. Option 1 is upcycling is the process of turning waste into useful products. 2, upcycling helps reduce the demand for new materials. And 3, upcycling can only be done with plastic materials. Yes. Thanks to those in the comment section. I can see a lot of you got it right. The lie is option 3. Upcycling can only be done with plastic materials. This is not true. As we've seen so far, it can be done with various types of materials, from glass to denim to garments and so much more. Now, to go forward, we will move on to the conversations section of the webinar, where we would have each of our speakers engaging in a conversation about upcycling and how you don't have to compromise your lifestyle. Now, my first question is to you, Bilkisu. Why is upcycling important to you?
Oh, for multiple reasons. One of the first reasons is because I know I'm contributing. I'm helping to promote the concept of sustainability and environmental sustainability. It's important to me because it helps, like I said, it gives waste items, scrap items, a second chance to life. You make really creative. It taps into that, inner creativity of everyone. And it's like I said, it's also therapeutic. I love upcycling for multiple reasons. You see things that seem useless, and then you give so much value to them. It means a lot to me, actually, for multiple reasons.
I definitely agree with you. Giving life to what we might consider trash is really what's important, instead of making them end up in landfills. Now, my next question would be to Namrata Budhraja. What are the most common types of waste that people overlook as upcycling opportunities?
Right. So I think we've had Bilkisu, we've had Jenny talk about so many of such options, but I think textiles is a big one. Old clothing, thrifting, using fabric scraps, linens, transforming them into new garments, accessories for the home. Like I think worn out denim as bags is a very, very easy sort of a shift. Then it could also be paper products like used paper. People are these days upcycling newspapers as pencils. There's so many different things happening, and I think there's also a lot of creativity that you can do where you can engage your children in creative play in upcycling, which is another really, like, I've seen a lot of people use all these e-commerce delivery boxes as ways of getting your kids to do arts and craft at home. So there are a lot of easy such changes that you can do. Then glass containers are another one. Empty jars, bottles can really be cleaned and repurposed in a very creative way. Some can also be used as vases, light fixtures, which can also add as a touch of home decor. So I think upcycling really gets your creative juices flowing, and you really need to think through different things. And Bilkisu had also given ideas such as, how you can repurpose wood. Things that you can do with wood, even plastic bottles these days, like for a lot of our corporate gifting, turning plastic bottles into bags, A lot of companies are doing that. In fact, one of the really interesting ones were in India, there are companies that are artisans are using plastic waste to weave boxes that are reusable. And they do it in a lot of aesthetic in an artistic manner. And we're actually working with these artisans, and we're building demand with corporates for these products here in the UAE. So they'll add, and then I think one really easy one at home is composting. We have so much food waste at home, and a lot of people think composting is really cumbersome and difficult, but actually if you go through the basics, it's the most natural process. And if you have the right composter in your house, there are no smells and it's very easy to do. So I think there are loads of different things we can do, and I think it's just about getting creative and committing to reducing waste in your household.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I agree with you. One of the beauties of upcycling is the creativity. You get to explore. And as you mentioned, the example of doing it with kids all around, it's also can be a community engaging activity.
Yeah.
Now, to my next question for Ms. Hanne, what role do partnerships with upcycling specialists or artisans play in the upcycling process for fashion brands specifically?
Thank you. Great question. I think for us as a sustainable fashion brand, we don't only look at producing our products sustainably, but also ethically with fair pay and treatment of workers and empowering women in business, for example. So partnerships with artisans is very close to my heart, and I think it's an amazing way to provide jobs for some art forms that are almost that we're about to lose, because everything is produced in mass production facilities and with technology. So some of these handcrafts, for example, in our case, handmade denim shoes that are handcrafted from pre-loved jeans. It's a skill that not many people have, and our female artisans in Bali, I am in awe of how quickly and how amazingly they can put together these boots and shoes. So for us, that's very important, and it's a beautiful way to support communities and skills. Then the other, you mentioned partnerships. For me, in the case of Donessy, we do collaborations with other brands, and usually the other brands are maybe not using upcycled materials, and it's amazing to create pieces of clothing together with another brand who uses new materials, and how they learn that, whoa, actually it still looks very cool even though we used pre-loved denim, for example. So this is kind of collaborations with other brands is a brilliant way to educate and further spread the word of upcycling.
Yes, definitely. And that is why here at Green Action Foundation, it's one of our priorities to always work with brands, with other NGOs and businesses. Now, on to Ms. Jenny. My question for you would be about what health or safety concerns should we avoid in upcycling?
I think it depends if you're a brand and you're making garments to sell, or whether or not you're doing it for yourself. What I would say is using industrial machines, sewing machines, you have to be really careful. You know, these are big machines, but it's called the bite of the machine. It's really, really quick. So you need to take that quite steady. We do Saturday classes on just how to use those machines, and you should always use it with a finger guard on there, because it's, you know, in the past we've had instances where people will go over their fingers. Don't use scissors necessarily, but something like this. These are called snips. Okay, these are actually really quite safe to use, because you can get right into a loose thread. You can open the joins with that as well, so they're much easier to use and much more accurate. we have to be very careful. We're audited to death because we do have some big brands that we work with. So we always have to have this. This is the chain glove. So what happens is you wear this on the left hand if you are right-handed, and you would put the chain glove on, and then you hold the layer of the fabric, and here you would have your cutting machine, which is very, very smooth to run, but obviously you need to have your digits attached. You do not want to lose your fingers. So having a chain glove is really, really important. And then the other thing is cleaning of garments. You know, we do recommend obviously that you wash the garments before you do any kind of recycling. We have to be very careful, and we have this sort of a beast of a machine where you spot clean. If you're going to be using any detergents for spot cleaning, you need to have it very well ventilated, or outside is even better. And you would use a face mask on there as well, sometimes goggles too, because of obviously the spray. But I'd like to think most people are sort of commonsensical. You know, you do have to be careful with what you're using from a chemical perspective. And if anybody wants to see any of this in action, then they're very welcome to come and see us in either Haringey or Islington. We're also in Leicester and in Wales as well. But very welcome.
Thank you so much, Jenny. It's really interesting to see the props of what we can use to protect ourselves while upcycling. For those of you in the audience, if you have any answers to the questions, feel free to comment in the chat box. We'd love to hear from you. And now moving on, my next question would be to you, Bilkisu. What challenges do you face when upcycling?
Big question, really big question. Big question in the sense that I can comfortably mention about 8 major challenges that we face as a brand in upcycling, especially in Nigeria, but I'll just mention the most challenging ones. The first is, so when we started the Upcycle Architect, the idea was pick solid waste materials from construction sites and a couple of household waste, which were like plastic bottles and a couple of fabric pieces, fuse them in multiple ways to create excellent products for interior spaces. That was the idea. But then, because of the environment and society that we're in, you need to constantly show people that the possibilities of upcycling are endless. Because we started getting feedbacks and comments of people saying, oh, is upcycling only about making interior products, you know? So that is one big major challenge. This is 2024 and we still have that serious issue, but it's getting a whole lot better. So that's idea of having to make multiple items, you know, from different materials is a major challenge for us, because we're constantly trying to show people, we're teaching people, we're showing people practically how to upcycle multiple scrap items in various ways. And I feel like we've made a lot of progress. It will get to a certain stage where we can fall back to our initial plan of making, you know, really amazing things from our selected materials, and then people that we've taught, trained, can go on and, you know, do keep creating upcycling products from other waste items. One of the other challenges that we face is you know, trying to maintain a certain standard quality, you know, of our products. So if you notice the Boutel table, it has revolutionized. The first debut of the Boutel table was in 2016. I didn't even know what upcycling was then. I didn't know what I was doing. And I presented it at a symposium, an interior design symposium, and it was just a collection of one scrap kitchen board and I think 4 to 6 bottles. And you know, the table was just shaking and people were like, oh, my kids will break their head with the table, and, you know, safety. So over the years, we've been able to, you know, work on perfecting the table. It's still work in progress, but maintaining that consistency in quality and standard is also a challenge, but it's a good challenge. Another issue that we have is, you know, safety and storage. I love safety precautions. I love what Jenny just said. You know, she also showed us practical tips in which they adopt. So we have also tried to sensitize like a couple of our workers and people that work with us on how to put health and safety first. So even when you give them these materials, they don't use them. They'd be like, oh, I'd work faster without a hand glove. Sometimes I do that myself, I forget, but that is a major challenge. They don't work with face masks sometimes. And then let me just, another major issue that we have had is storage space. Because if you're into upcycling, you will know that you will definitely have multiple scrap items, and having to store them becomes an issue because you might not need them at that moment. You might need them in the near future. And then how do you keep storing them? So we keep expanding our storage spaces. I have a specific storeroom. Okay, sorry, 2 storerooms in my house just for scrap items. So those are some of our challenges, and I mean, it's all good. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. It was really nice hearing about the challenges, especially in a developing country. But I would say that one of my favorite key points that you have highlighted is education, the lack of education when it comes to upcycling. And that is why here at Winners Action Foundation, we've chosen to highlight this topic in the month of November with this event and our previous events as well. So yes, we are hoping this creates awareness and people get more comfortable with the idea of upcycling. Now, my next question will be back to you, Jenny. Do you think upcycling will become more mainstream in the future?
Oh, 100% I do. And that's why I just put that in the chat box. I'm an absolute believer in entrepreneurial spirit, and there is so much you can achieve. When you think about the rise of Depop and Vinted, look at those websites, they're amazing. And I think gone are the days where you used to have to put a collection together of 10, 15 garments, then you'd buy 300 units of each one across sizes. Those days have gone. It's so easy now to use the following that you have off your own social media, start small and grow. We do a lot of work with startup brands. So, we guide them through that process of what's it like to have your own business. And that's why we got the shop, really, because you need stockists. You need to be able to say, I'm selling in London. And, we're a social enterprise. So the success of our clients is our success. And I know I keep on saying it, but life is too short. Life is too short. I had a mother actually that was very, very poorly all of her life. And I used to think she could have all the money in the world and she would not be happy. It is how you are inside, and all these guest speakers, you're all trying to do something that's for the good of the planet. I think we should give ourselves a clap. And to everybody that's out there as well, do not be afraid to follow those dreams. It's so important.
Thank you so much. That was such a wonderful answer. Yes, it's so exciting to have all these speakers here, various backgrounds, but very, very prestigious. Next, my question will be to you, Hanne. How can brands better educate consumers about the environmental and social benefits of upcycling?
Thank you for that question. I'm going to answer something a little bit controversial. Let's not educate customers. My hope for the textile fashion industry is that one day soon we have no sustainable fashion, because all fashion will be sustainable. And I've been in this space for about 10 years now in total, and I haven't seen massive steps forward with sustainable fashion. So in the case of Donessy as an upcycled denim brand, we do not educate customers about upcycling or sustainability or any of it. We just focus on creating amazing pieces that people fall in love with, and they want to have that piece of clothing or those boots. Because when we buy clothes or shoes, it's an emotional decision because you like the piece of garments that you're about to buy. So let's produce sustainable pieces, but let's make sure that they are very stylish, amazing, cool, and then as a bonus, by the way, it's fully sustainable or it's just upcycled. But no education coming from here.
Okay then. I really like the points that you made. Sustainable fashion should be everyday normal fashion, just fashion, right? Yeah, hopefully one day we can get to that point and it just becomes the norm. Now, if you're having an amazing time, to the audience, please comment yes in the chat box. Of course, like I've been mentioning, we would like to hear from you, and if you have answers as well. Now, my final question is to Namrata. How significant are individual actions in the global sustainability efforts, and what actions do you recommend for the everyday people?
So I think, firstly, a lot of times we as end consumers think that we don't play a role. I've done multiple sessions and workshops, and a lot of people say, it's just me. Even if I act responsibly, how much of a change can that make? And I think that's where we're wrong. If all of us start saying that, there's going to be no change. So what we need to focus on is making significant cumulative impact. And, Shifteco's tagline is small shifts, big impact. You don't need to change everything around. Start making small changes in your daily lifestyle that will go a long way. So I think from our individual actions, we do a lot of workshops on what we can do personally to not contribute to this climate crisis. What we eat, right? Food we eat. Are we eating too much red meat? Are we consuming too much? The brands we are associating with, what kind of values do those brands have? Because we are consumers, we are developing the demand for products. If we demand products from companies and businesses that are ethical, that use sustainable materials, then then hopefully, fashion will all be sustainable, Hanne. But I think it's a journey, right? It's a journey. And I think it comes from people starting to ask questions about where are their products coming from, what are they being made of, what happens after the product's life cycle is over, what is the life cycle of the product. So I think there's a lot of significant cumulative impact, and I think let's think of it in terms of numbers, right? And let's think of it in energy. If 1 in 10 households globally replace a regular bulb with an LED bulb, which is more efficient, it could reduce 13 million tons of CO2, right? So if you just think of the stats, cumulative action is massive, and it's something that we really need to propagate and understand. We all have a role to play in it. And the way you behave, you impact your network, whether it's your friends, whether it's your family, whether it's acquaintances. So the ripple effect of every action that you take has impact. And I think we all need to start driving this demand for sustainable practices and start driving this demand for better products, better companies, and it'll make all the difference.
Thank you so much, Namrata. Yes, I agree with you. The change begins with everyone as an individual. It doesn't have to be so big. Just start in your own little steps. And I'm sure with this webinar, you might have learned a thing or two about how to become more sustainable with upcycling. Now, we would like to have questions from the audience. Please comment your questions so we can ask our lovely speakers here. Yeah, but once again, I would like to thank the speakers on behalf of Green Earth Action Foundation. We are beyond privileged to have you here with us today. Yes, now I can see we have a question coming in. How do you balance the demands for modern trendy designs with the commitments to use reimagined waste fabrics in your collections? This is for Jenny or Hanne. Jenny, would you like to?
It's about style. I think it's about your style. That's what's really important. And I'm finding at the moment that there aren't really any core trends. I can think back to when I used to be a buyer and I was a senior buyer. We used to have trend boards for colours, for fabrics, for patterns, for prints, for silhouettes. And what we find now with our 75 young designers, they have a theme. It might be about fit, for example. They want to make sure that their fabric that they select is fitting all body shapes, and then they will perfect their garments, and then they will use recycled fabrics as a result of that. So I think it's like you said, start small, develop wisely, but I think you only have to look at the rise of vintage and Depop to know that people are buying thrift now.
Yes, definitely. I agree with you, Jenny. Hanne, would you like to contribute to that?
Yeah, I think, well, exactly what Jenny was also saying, like, also as a brand, we try to, if there is a trend going on, we try to kind of stay away a little bit and more produce something that is more timeless, more seasonless, something that the customer can really wear and rewear for seasons and for years, and also then to produce something modern and trendy or luxurious. This is the challenge that I love using upcycled denim. That it's my responsibility, me and my team, to make sure that although the material that we use is pre-loved, we need to make it look like it's new. So it's a lovely challenge, and it's not impossible.
We can definitely see from your work that it's definitely not impossible. Okay, so we have another question here from Emilia Sar. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. And the question goes, are there some ideas or strategies on how to motivate people? I mostly speak of the ones that do not have a creative spirit. Would there be a way to initiate them to this noble action and make them appreciate it? For our lovely speakers, if you'd like to take that, you can just unmute your mic and you can take it.
So I think I'll answer that question. I think if people are not creative, I think they'll need simpler tasks, and we'll have to make it simpler for them. So I'll give you an example. One of my corporate clients has a lot of waste. They're a real estate client, so they have a lot of construction waste. And what they wanted to do was they wanted to engage their employees who were not so motivated, in upcycling. And what they wanted to do was they wanted to use this waste to create a waste to art piece that would lie in the center of their, main hall, as a commitment to sustainability and a commitment to reduce waste. So I think making this piece, they broke it down into simpler actions for the employees, and they had a consultant come on board who actually guided them through the entire process. And because the employees were involved in it, and it was simple for them to be involved in it, it was a very engaging activity for them, and they thoroughly engaged with the entire concept from waste to art and the whole upcycling. So I think simple small actions, it doesn't have to be complicated and big, and even if you aren't creative, you can then kind of participate in this whole upcycling thing.
That's true. Even if you're not creative, you can definitely be a part of the upcycling movement. To our lovely speakers, will anyone like to contribute to that point?
Yes, I would like to just add something a little to what Namrata said. So this is also speaking from a personal perspective. When I started upcycling, there was a lot of feedback of the products being nice, creative, and then there was no call to action. So people would say, oh, they're nice, creative, and then what next? Okay, let's do something collectively. And people will say, nah, I'm busy and all that. So what I think you should do, my own advice would be just stick to what is true to you. If you're passionate about this, just keep doing it. Keep being consistent. I promise you, there are people out there that are watching you and you're inspiring, and eventually your call to action will actually take place. So just keep doing what you're doing, and then also join communities. Look for communities online, offline, that align with your vision, and try to join with them. In the process of joining with them, you try to collaborate, and I promise you it would lead you to even bigger platforms that have people that are interested in what you want to see or what you're doing.
It's about shouting about it as well, isn't it? I think don't be afraid to fly your flag. I think it's so important. And I think sometimes as well to say, if you get it wrong, to say, I tried this didn't work, so learn from my mistakes. But just, as you say, be proud of what you're doing and keep to that vision, 100%.
Exactly. I would like to emphasize the point of joining communities. So by following us on Green Earth Action Foundation, it's also we have a community of like-minded people who are all interested in sustainable practices, and that way you can become more sustainable yourself and you wouldn't feel left out. Now there's a question directed to Namrata. First, it says, great job with Shifteco. Just wanted to know how procurement for corporates has been a challenge. What I sometimes see is that the unsustainable products are much cheaper and more likely to be chosen to cut costs. How would you deal with this as Shifteco's co-founder, or have you dealt with this problem?
Yeah. No, thank you for that question, Anushna. I think it's a very critical question. So I think from your side, you're absolutely right. Traditional procurement departments, when they get multiple quotes, they only look at the cheapest quote. No one's looking at the quality of the product. No one's looking at the sustainability values of the product. However, we've seen that trend shift. So when you look at sustainable products or sustainability produced products, they come at a premium of about 15 to 20%, which can actually, the premium can reduce based on the quantities, sort of corporates buy. What we find is corporates that are now, because of government regulation and because of companies now committing to net zero strategies, they are pushed to think about their procurement. So it's one of their KPIs, it's one of their goals, and that's what it makes it easier for us to now deal with corporates, because they want to be associated with sustainable procurement. And now procurement teams are going through sustainable procurement, sort of principles. So for example, a lot of the leading banks in the UAE now have a criteria in their registration or vendor registration process, which asks you about, they basically want to know about their vendors, what sustainability values they bring in. So now they are a lot of the more mature organizations, I won't say everyone, because I agree with you that some will only look at cost and decide on cost because they don't have that luxury. But I'm seeing that shift happen where companies are now trying to incorporate sustainability as a value with any vendor they work with. And that again leads into products, and that's how we're dealing with the problem. I think it's also to realize that not all corporates are our clients. The larger corporates are our clients, and they are the ones who are willing to pay that premium.
Thank you so much, Namrata. My team has just highlighted to me that Jenny is a part of UN Fashion and Lifestyle Network. Can we have a round of applause for her on that? Congratulations, and that's such a big deal, and we're beyond honored to have you here. We will take one last question, and then we will wrap it up. Now, this question also goes to, we have so many questions going to you, Namrata. You have a lot of fans. But anyway, it says, what advice do you have for individuals or companies looking to transition to more sustainable practices? I guess this kind of answered this. You've already kind of answered this.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we wouldn't need to go over that. And next, we also have Sumana, who has asked, how do we make sustainable practices the cool thing? I hear folks around me talk a lot about it, but when it comes to their behaviors, they don't seem to be incorporating such practices across their lifestyles. I believe that we as a society forced on peer pressure to live a maximalist life. I agree with you, Sumana, and we've kind of covered this earlier, but if any of our speakers would like to discuss more about this topic, please feel free to unmute your mic and we can chat. Yes, Jenny, you can go ahead and answer the question.
What, the one here about upcycling different waste materials?
No, it's about making sustainable practices the cool thing.
Well, look at the guest speakers. Are the guest speakers not all cool here? So you are
Agreed.
leading. I think the work that we're in, we're ahead of our time sometimes, like we're seeing this as social good and the impact that we can have in communities. And I honestly think it takes time to filter out. We have something called CPPD here, which is continual professional and personal development. And we have most weeks, twice a week, people from colleges. Today we've got people coming from Barclays Bank. We've got Karen Millen coming. And what we do is we talk about how can we do it, right, rather than being forceful, because at the end of the day, it is for individuals a lifestyle choice, and for brands it's policy. Now, there are lots of new legislations coming. In 2026 in Europe, there has to be a repair bill that's going through. Now, that is going to drive sustainability. It's going to drive people to look after their garments. It's going to be much more about slow fashion. So I think we are ahead of the curve with the work we're trying to do. I think people will catch up. Sustainability is in the curriculum now, in secondary schools. Even in nurseries, there's a nursery called LEYF, and they have sustainable practices at nursery. So, for example, they've got wooden toys rather than plastic toys. So it's going to happen, our time's going to come. I think there are times when we all can find business really difficult, and you just think it's an uphill struggle sometimes, especially when there's been so much happening globally in the world, but you have to carry on. You have to see those rays of sunshine, and eventually you'll realize that you are the new cool, because people are now incorporating what you're doing.
Exactly. Slow fashion is starting to trend. Be a part of the trendsetters and shop sustainably and become and upcycle more often. Now we're going to wrap up. This comes to the end of our webinar. Thank you so much to our speakers. We loved having you. We enjoyed the conversation. Please type yes in the chat box below if you enjoyed the conversation as well, just as much as I did. Don't miss out on our future webinars and our offline events. We have a couple of offline events that we're preparing in Switzerland and a couple in Dubai as well. It's going to be really exciting, really going to be fun, and you do not want to miss out, I promise you. Follow us on social media. We are at Green Earth Action Foundation on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and across different platforms. And stay tuned for exclusive content. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks so much. Thank you as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.